This is hilarious.
They just made a multi-million-dollar penny? What? Looks like this. You know how it's the 2025 penny. They just stopped making pennies, and so the last 200 pennies have a little omega mark right there. Do you see that right there? It's a raised stamp on the penny. It looks like this. The back won't look any different, but the front will look like this with that omega mark. Supposedly, there are 200 of these that are being circulated. They are not reserved. They're already out there. This is how we have the photo, like people are finding them. And since this is so freaking cool and rare and weird that we're ending the penny, people are supposedly willing to pay millions of dollars for it. I'm not the guy, but there are supposedly multi-million-dollar bids already existing for these pennies when they get graded and put into the collector circles. You can be that person. It is always a person like you. Go to the bank today on your way to work and ask if they have any rolls of 2025 pennies. Dude, imagine if they say yes! Imagine if they say yes! I think you only knew about this offer because you follow me for more coin stuff.
If you have pennies in your wallet, they may soon be a relic. The U.S. Mint pressed its very last pennies Wednesday after more than 230 years. President Trump said not enough people use them anymore, and they cost too much to make. One of these, almost 4 cents. You can still use them, but they're not making any new ones. Companies like McDonald's, Wendy's, and some convenience stores say that they're not going to be giving exact change anymore. They're going to be rounding up or down to the nearest 5 cents because pennies are getting harder and harder to get. As for the very last pennies ever made, they're going to be auctioned off.
When is the last time you used a penny? Well, after 230 years, the U.S. has made its final batch of 1-cent coins. Why? To save money, according to the government. Today, 1 penny costs nearly 4 cents to make. The Treasury Department estimates the decision to end production will save about $56 million a year. Other countries have also phased out their lowest value coins. Canada made its last batch of 1-cent coins in 2012, and the UK halted production of coins in 2024 after officials decided there were sufficient 1p and 2p coins in circulation. Officials have argued that the rise of electronic transactions is making the penny increasingly moot. In fact, about 60% of all coins in circulation in the U.S. sit stashed at home in piggy banks deemed not worth trading in, according to a 2022 government analysis. About 300 billion pennies will remain in circulation, but the phase-out has already prompted businesses to start adjusting prices, as they say pennies are becoming harder to find.
This comes on the tail of the U.S. Mint announcing that it printed the final pennies. Our director, named Sterling, shared something pretty funny with me that I thought I'd share with all of you. And it has to do with 2 pennies, which feels pretty appropriate as the 2 cents guy. He came up to me and he shared these with me today and he said, "Do you see 2 cars? Do you see 2 cars? How about 2 Lincolns? Do you see fruit? How about dates? 2 dates? Do you see any snakes? Copperheads?" I thought that was pretty good, so felt the need to share. Plus, all of you have been sharing your 2 cents with me, again, about there no longer being production of pennies. Some people are upset that it's happening. Some people say it's about time. And no, we are not changing the name of the segment. It will always stay your 2 cents. If you want to share your thoughts about the penny, please do so in the comment section below.
The United States has minted its very last penny. According to the AP News, the United States Mint in Philadelphia on November 12, 2025, pressed the final 1-cent coins, ending continuous production of the penny since 1793. This move follows a directive from the Trump administration that cited rising manufacturing costs, nearly 4 cents to produce each 1-cent valued coin. They project savings of about $56 million a year. While pennies will remain legal tender, no new ones will enter circulation. Retailers and banks are already adjusting to the coming changes in cash transactions. My name is Mary Donnelly, and this is Zap Snaps. Thank you.
Everybody, this is the last one.
Any final words for the penny?
God bless America.
Yeah, bless America. And we're going to save the taxpayers $56 million. Which is good. Alright, we're going to do a countdown on this one. This is the last one. 3, 2, 1. Woo! Kind of what I was thinking. Yep. Why not?
Getting rid of the penny will cost us, the consumers, $6 million a year. The United States has announced that it will stop producing pennies in early 2026 because producing the penny costs more than its actual value. While this will save the government money, the costs will offset to us. So, if that Labubu was $50.01, now it's $50.05. Don't panic, there's still 300 billion pennies circulating and we will not be running out of them anytime soon. But while the government hopes to save millions in production and simplify cash exchanges, we will be the ones impacted.
Breaking news, folks. Nickel is the new penny. The United States Mint pulled the plug on the penny Wednesday. It had a good run, but it's officially retired. Pennies are out, nickels are in. Why? Each penny now costs almost 4 cents to make, and nobody wants to bend down for one anymore. So the penny gets axed, literally.
A couple days ago, it was announced that the US government is no longer going to be making pennies anymore. They're going to stop production of pennies sometime early next year. And the way it was rolled out to the public was that it costs 3.7 cents to make a penny, and that's not efficient. So we're just going to stop the production of pennies. But actually, this is a really good thing for the US taxpayer because it's going to save them millions of dollars. And that is so far from the truth. When it costs more to produce 1 penny than what the penny is actually valued at, the conversation and the issue isn't inflation or the rising cost of metals. It's that capitalism is literally breaking down and we are watching it in real time. Capitalism thrives because it exploits the laborer, which is the workers. It wastes resources, and then it creates problems that it knows it cannot solve, and then just moves on to destroying the next thing, leaving behind destruction and millions of people to fall through the cracks. Capitalism will literally drive you to crazy and then get out the car and ask you, how did we get here? Like, I want people to understand that the US dollar is not backed by anything. The US currency is backed by nothing. It is just a bunch of experts that get together and decide what the value of something is. And that's how they exploit and waste resources. That is how they create problems. Because who's to say that farmers should get paid pennies on the dollars while someone who works in fucking tech as an engineer should get paid hundreds of $1,000s? Does that make sense? Like, farmers literally sustain us. We need the food that they grow to sustain us, to keep us alive. And that entire industry, the entire farming industry, has been exploited so badly that the entire farming industry is collapsing. And this is something that should be alarming to all of us. I think deep down, all of us know that this system is collapsing. But a lot of people believe that if they work really hard and they mind their business and keep their head down and focus on themselves and save enough money, that they'll be spared. And that's not true. When the system collapses, money will not matter. Literally, none of us will be spared. The best thing we can do is confront and engage with the issues that are happening in our society. You can no longer run from the issues that are coming up in our society. We must confront and engage with what is happening all around us. You cannot ignore it. When it becomes more expensive to make a penny than what the penny is actually worth, what does that say about the free market? It proves what Marx said a long time ago, which is that a system built on exploitation can never last.
Say your goodbyes because today the last penny was made. The U.S. Mint is stopping penny production because, frankly, it costs too much. It costs 4 times more to make one single penny than what it's worth. This will actually save taxpayers about $56 million annually. So hold on to the pennies you have. These are going to be a fun keepsake for the generations to come. But in all honesty, I can't remember the last time I've used a penny. What about you?
We just got all those for 3 cents, $600 worth of stuff. Using Deal Soldier, they just pinged me for these 1 cent things that just dropped. We just got the Home Depot. Let's go find them.
Guys, just grabbing them right now. Let's go.
Alright guys, these are the penny items. They're all gonna be 1 cent inside here. We gotta go to another aisle and open up the box. Just opened up the package. They're all 3 of them were inside. We gotta go scan them at the self-checkout.
Would you like an e-receipt? Thank you for shopping at the Home Depot.
So we are really eliminating pennies. Got it. I saw a sign in Aldi when I went the other day that said they couldn't give change because they had no pennies and they wouldn't be getting any pennies. And I have heard theories or plans of a cashless society warning us to stock up on silver and gold or crypto Bitcoin. And then I saw a video on my algorithm, as if it was reading my mind, of a guy saying how it costs more to make a penny than what they're worth and how the nickel is next and then soon there'll be no cash. He said eventually this will be a cashless society, and all the theories were true. And then I see an official announcement from the U.S. Department of Treasury saying that that's true. The article said it was the beginning to the end of the penny. They placed their last order of the blanks, like just the circle, the metal disc that pennies are made on. Back in February, Trump instructed them to stop making the coin. And so what does this mean for customers? So they're going to round up to the nearest nickel. So if your total is 301, they're going to round it up to 305. So you're going to be charged more. And you might say, oh, that's just 4 cents. But that's going to add up. And my question is, where's that money going to go? Is it going to go to the store, the reserve, someone else? Is someone going to be tracking it? Like, are we going to be able to see where this money is going? There's also been an increase of stores with self-checkout, not accepting cash. You have to go to a register and then they only have one person working all the registers. So that most likely will push more people to go digital, which is probably intentional. But my question is, what about the coin collectors? From what I found, the coins are going to increase in value, but I don't really know. Maybe you should just save them just in case, because who really knows? But the most important question that I have is this the phase out of cash? Are we really headed to a cashless society? No physical money, first the pennies, then the nickels, then all the other ones? Is this just a coincidence? I know when you Google it, it won't say that there's plans to move to a cashless society. They'll say convenience or hygiene. These are the reasons why. But I have seen reports that the U.S. dollar is losing value amongst all the countries. But I don't know. What do y'all think?
All right, welcome back. Penny pinching may soon take on new meaning as the last batch of the 1 cent coins was produced yesterday by order of the president.
End of an era.
Yep.
Moats Ericosa spoke with a coin seller and a collector today about what this means for our wallets. Monse, why did they stop making pennies?
Well, pennies actually cost more to make than they're worth by 4 times. When they were introduced first in 1793, 1 cent could buy you candy, a biscuit, or something else along those lines. But now these coins may be worth more as a thing of the past.
Billions of pennies remain in circulation, but as of November 12, 2025, 232 years after their inception, penny production is no more.
3, 2, 1.
When people heard pennies wouldn't be made anymore, they started calling Bob's coins and collectibles.
People looking for rolls more than usual. So everybody is, thinking that these are going to have values.
But pennies made after 1982 aren't as valuable since they're made out of primarily zinc instead of copper, like ones made in years prior.
I hope I look this good when I'm 140.
Steve Rohrline's penny collection is almost complete. Now he's just looking for a dime from 1916.
That's as close as I'll ever come to treasure hunting.
A pastime that can bring all sorts of emotions.
Relaxing, enjoyable, and sometimes frustrating.
For those looking to get into coin collecting, he recommends looking at qualities like the coin's condition. Plus,
how rare are they? And what was going on in history at the time the coin was made? I imagine those coins could talk. They could tell you a lot of interesting stories.
It was such an interesting story today. Yeah. We've heard that a lot of people are trying to buy 2025 pennies because they think they'll be valuable. Really, it could be generations before they're valuable because of the material that they're made out of. So unless zinc skyrockets, it'll be generations before then.
All right, well, collecting aside, is this going to impact people when they're going to pay if they still want to use, dollars and cents?
Yeah, if you have exact change, that's obviously preferred, but stores like Quick Trip are rounding down to the nearest nickel because pennies are hard to come by, but other stores like Kroger to McDonald's, they'll just be rounding to the nearest nickel, whether it's up or down. So these pennies might actually not be worth quite as much as we thought.
Do wishes still come true when you throw a penny in a well, though?
Oh, might have to be a nickel now.
That'll be tomorrow's story. That'll be tomorrow's story.
Price of everything going up.
Exactly. Thank you. Nice job. That was
Y'all say goodbye to the penny. Today, November 12th, 2025, the U.S. Mint in Philadelphia has canceled the production of pennies. I had a love-hate relationship with pennies. As a child, I would collect pennies and put them in my piggy bank and go down to the Pathmark on 125th in Harlem and cash my pennies at the end of the year. And then I would go to Toys R Us and buy toys with that money. I really thought I was rich. Those pennies brought me joy. But then also, as I got older, the pennies were annoying. But I can't believe there will be no more pennies made. And guys, you know what? If you have pennies at home, you might want to hold on to those. You never know in the future if they may cost anything more. You know? You might make some bank later on in life. But I can't believe we're saying goodbye to the penny. No more production of pennies. It's kind of sad. But is it really? Or were they just annoying little pieces of copper? Bye, penny.
The last U.S. pennies could fetch up to $5 million as Mint shuts down its production. Listen, y'all, this is nasty work, man. So as of this week, Mint is no longer making pennies. There will be no longer any more pennies. So the pennies that they're making this week are the last pennies ever. And if you receive any of these pennies and you hold on to them, they'll be worth $5 million, man. I know I ain't gonna get nothing because every time I get my hand on a penny, when they give me my change, I throw it. I just throw them shit. So I'll put them shits in a fucking tip jar. So I ain't gonna lie, if you see me put my hand back in your tip jars, I'm just taking the pennies that I put there a couple months ago. I'm just trying to make sure I ain't give y'all $5 million. Because I ain't trying to give y'all that kind of much of a fucking tip. You know what I'm saying? I was trying to give y'all a couple pennies, not $5 million. So if you see me put my hand in there, I'm not taking the cash. Don't worry. I'm just making sure that penny isn't got this kind of date, and I'll be alright. You know what I'm saying? Don't lock me up. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, I'll give you a quarter. I'll put a quarter in there and I'll take all your pennies. I'll take 25 pennies. That's what I'm gonna do. Cause ain't no way I'm gonna miss out on this $5 fucking million. I've been throwing pennies on the fucking in the sky for years.
Penny pinching has a whole new meaning, and that's because after 230 years, we are finally saying goodbye to the penny. The penny has been officially retired. It's truly a historic moment. I'm going to show you the pennies that we're talking about right here. These were the final pennies that were struck this afternoon in Philadelphia at the U.S. Mint here in the city of brotherly love. 5 final pennies, truly the end of an era. Now, I'm going to tell you a little bit about how this process happened and also why the Trump administration decided to do this. First, the reasoning. Basically, the Trump administration says that the American taxpayers have been shortchanged. They said that it's actually costing triple the amount to make the penny than it did a decade ago. But of course, the use and demand of pennies has since plummeted. So they said they're hoping to, by stopping to mint them, save taxpayers over $50 million a year. But it hasn't been all without challenge, because retailers are now faced with trying to decide what exactly they're going to do here. The penny's passing by right now. Thank you, sir. They're trying to figure out what they're going to do when it comes to exact change. Are they going to round up to the nearest nickel? Are they going to round down to the nearest nickel? A lot of challenges and things to still iron out. But the administration wants to be clear. Pennies, still legal tender. Do not throw them out. You can still spend them. You can still roll them up and collect them.
This week, we saw the end of the United States 1 cent coin from production. Now, it cost the United States government about 3 cents 69 to produce one, leading to a loss of about $56 million per year. So it makes sense to get rid of this coin and get it out of production. But what a coin it was! That lowest denomination value, so many years of collectible coins and designs over the years. In the 1700s, you could buy so much with a 1 cent coin. Of course, today, there's almost no value. So the American 1 cent coin out of production, but the new lowest denomination coin being the nickel, the 5 cent coin that is still being produced. This is a trend we've seen in many countries, with the lowest denomination coins being pulled from circulation because the material metal cost is just becoming too expensive to produce them.
So on the topic of pennies, since the last ever penny in the United States was pressed this year, and they've discontinued the penny, I wanted to show you guys the oldest penny that I've ever found in circulation. I love looking for old pennies. It's something that I've always done, and I keep the oldest penny that I've ever found on this necklace, and I've had it for at least 10 years. So I want to show you guys it closer up, obviously.
It's not really anything special. It was minted in 1919. From what I've looked up, it isn't really worth much. These 3 sold together on eBay recently for just under $3. But it's the oldest penny that I've ever found. And I just like thinking about the history and everything that it's gone through since it was pressed.
Thank you for watching Great Minds Blacks.